going a little country here. The word is truck.
Um, Truck. I keep thinking of this reference my dad says all the time. You gonna get up on something, get up on this truck. I know that's not a song, but that's just what popped in my head.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Marc Daniel Patrick Show. Thank you so much for joining us on here. On the show today, we have Abigail Virginia. I mean, does a name get any better than that? I mean, that has star quality written all over it already. Abby currently lives in Nashville. She has over 800,000 followers on TikTok, where she sings, provides some therapy and some coffee chats, and basically just enjoys being unapologetically herself. Do yourself a favor and check out all of her social media and her singles below, but that's, of course, after you get to the end of this video. Please enjoy Abigail Virginia. I'm so glad we finally get to do this. Thank you again for taking the time. You're in Nashville now?
Yes, I just moved here 3 weeks ago.
Looking at your TikTok, it would assume that it would look like you are just born and raised there.
I guess so. I just fit right in.
You're fitting in quite perfect. What is the difference? So for me being up north in Vancouver, Canada, wow, look at that. Yeah.
I've never been anywhere though, so I'm like super impressed when everyone's like they've been anywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I have to chip some ice off of my window every morning, but it's fine. What from Alabama to Nashville? What's major differences? Not a lot of difference. It seems like, isn't it just country to country?
Yeah, it's a lot of that still, but traffic's insane. Like, people drive crazy here, already experienced that. I would say, though, I went to school in Florence, so everything there is super slow. There's nothing to do there. Here, it's like every single minute, every single day, every single coffee shop, somebody's singing, somebody's hustling. So, honestly, I like it in the aspect of it makes me want to work harder here.
Yeah.
Even though people are super sweet here like they were in Alabama, but so that hasn't really changed a lot. But I would say people work harder here. They're faster. It's like...
Well, and like you said, it's got to be so inspiring to leave your house and just hear the music that is coming out of everywhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm like, wow, people are amazing.
Right.
You hear it on TikTok all the time, but...
Has there been any Blake Shelton sightings just driving a pickup truck down the road? Any...
Well, I did meet Chris Young. My intern I'm with 2 internships right now. One is a publishing house and one's a startup company app. And so the startup company app is for artists. It's like artist friendly. People can tip through the app and they get 100% of what people tip instead of the company taking a percentage. Yeah. And so Kelly Ford is my boss. And so she used to be a radio host. So she's done some stuff like Chris Young's fan club. We went and I met his family and him, and so it's been cool stuff like that.
I take 10 minutes looking at your Instagram, and I'm going to try and summarize, the 4 or 5 key points in 10 minutes, right? So
Okay.
She writes songs. She can play the guitar. Boy, does she sing. Can you hear, like, there's a little bit of country all of a sudden coming out. I can't help it. There's a little bit of country. Just I can't. She sings, beauty pageants, and basketball.
You scrolled that far?
Is there... if it wasn't for an interview's sake, it's a little creepy, I know. But I had to get all the way.
That's so funny. I'm glad you saw that.
We'll hit each point as we go through, but let's start on the basketball one because that was the most left field, surprising one. How good were you? What's your shooting percentage like? Do you still play? Who's your favorite team?
Do I need to bring my huddle out? Do I need to bring my...
Please, can we get the whole stat sheet? Would be great.
Yeah.
Was that just a high school thing? Did that just start in high school?
Well, my whole life. I actually had an identity crisis, low-key, because I didn't start TikTok. A lot of people didn't even know I sang until after high school. So
really?
I mean, my friends did, and
right.
like I was Miss Springbull or whatever. And I sang for my talent. So people knew I sang, but it wasn't something I didn't post on YouTube. Because I was playing 3 sports year round. So I did more than basketball. I did basketball, volleyball, and track. And then I grew up playing soccer too. That kept me so busy, and I was such a small town that I didn't even realize the extent of what you could do with music. I just wasn't really educated, and TikTok really helped me with that. When I started posting on there, the opportunities that I learned a lot from the app, honestly. My mom, she's my superhero, honestly. I look up to my mom so much. She's always supported anything I wanted to do, but that's just kind of, she did some sports growing up, so she put me in it, and I was good at them, so I just kind of stuck with it. It just kind of became a thing I did. I didn't really question it that much, if that makes sense. Like, I always did this, so I'm always going to do it.
So then was it after school, when did you first start singing? When was the first time that you stood up and said, no, I'm going to move to music a little bit. I'm going to start singing instead.
So when I was like looking for my college, I was like, I really want to go to school for music, but I don't want a degree in voice. I don't, that I was like, what's that really going to do? So I wish there was a music business. And so I went to North Alabama, and that's kind of close to Tennessee. It's only about 2 hours away. And they had a program for it. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm coming here. And that's really where I learned a lot. I did this like songwriting competition, which was small, but I got second. It was like the first song I ever wrote. And I was like, oh, okay, like, cool. And then I had all these people come up to me. They're like, let's write. And I'm like, people do that? Like, people co-write together? That's...
Yeah.
And you would think I would know that, but I didn't.
That's the whole world, Abby. Yeah.
Right? I know, but that's just how small-minded I was in my little town. Like, my eyes were like, oh, wow, I could really do this if I wanted to. So then at that point, yeah, the first co-write I ever had, I just fell in love with it, and that's all I did. I think a lot of me was scared to sing because of how deep my voice was. I think a lot of people didn't understand it.
Right.
So I think a part of me was scared in my home, like in my town, to sing to people because people didn't they didn't accept. It's not that people didn't accept it, but I could just tell, I mean, and it's still a lot of people on the internet are kind of confused because it's like, why you look like that and sound like that.
Right. Well,
yeah.
You took us there, so let's go there for a quick second here. Two things I have to say. Number one, there is a incredibly famous woman who has a residency in Vegas right now, who they wouldn't even put on the radio back in the day because she sounded like a man. And that, of course, is Cher. And now look at her. I mean, right. Second of all, do you, off the top of your head, if you had to guess, or if you had to take a pick of what your favorite video is that you've posted on TikTok, I have my favorite, so I'm going to see what yours is first, and then we'll compare notes.
I want to know your favorite, though.
You hit me first. What do you think? What is your favorite TikTok video that you've posted?
Honestly, can I say something besides singing?
Funny enough, mine is not going to be you singing. Okay. So
mine is one of the first ones I ever posted. It's way down there. I don't even know where it's at, but it's me on it's when Old Town Road came out. I was like, and I'm like on the lawnmower. I'm doing some stupid stuff. Like, that's honestly one of my favorite videos I've probably ever made. Just because it's like, it just I'm like, man, Abby did not know anything,
Those are sometimes the best videos, though. They create the best thing is because when you're just that clueless and you're not trying to follow a mold, sometimes It gets the best results, right?
Yeah.
Well, mine is you bringing your mom on to read hateful comments on TikTok is brilliant. I mean, the woman deserves all the accolades in the world. I can see exactly why she's your hero, because she should be, because her reaction to those are, instead of like a motherly instinct of just getting so mad and defensive, how she can sit there and laugh with you at what ridiculousness people have to say on TikTok. And it's just, it makes for such a great video. And then it lets us, mom needs her own podcast, needs her own TikTok. She needs to get out there more, because her reactions to that it's perfect.
She's so funny. She really is. I'm gonna have to tell her you said that. For
someone to get onto your TikTok and give any threats whatsoever, just really screams that no one's paying attention to them. And it's right, and this is the way they need to put themselves out there. So just a couple words on how do you push through that? Like, is it like your mom's reaction? Is it just funny to you, or how do you get through that?
Yeah, so I can't lie to you that I haven't been like, man, because after about 2 months after the glamorous videos where everything started to and really what bothered me the most was people kept coming at my gender. That was really the weird thing for me. I'm like, I don't understand that. But as far as singing, I'm confident, and so I'm like, I remind myself, hey, you wouldn't be doing this if you weren't meant to do it. What do you base your confidence on? And if I based it on other people's opinions, I would be upset all the time, no matter what I do. So it's like, I know the industry I'm in. I have to know no one, not, and my voice is different anyway. So I have to know that like it's not going to resonate with everybody, but that's okay. That doesn't mean that I flip out and I cry and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, no, I have to be, and that's where I think sports. Well, I'm so glad I did sports because it gave me endurance and I understand it's not always good. And so I really think I have a lot to credit to sports, the mindset I have. I think that, and the main reason why I didn't take the video down too is also for other people if they are out there doing things. If I was to take that video down, that shows to other people quit when things get bad, and that is not me.
The one thing I maybe slightly disagreed with you was the comment you made of saying like, I know maybe that video wasn't perfect, maybe I didn't sound so great in that. That means nothing. That is irrelevant, right? What you post on your page can sound however the fuck you want it to, right? and I know what you mean, that sports reference of like when you're on the court, I mean, you're not gonna hit every shot, and that's, no one can expect you to hit every shot, and that's okay. You need to be okay with that and still move on and go play some defense, right? Like it needs to be the next transition.
Like the game keeps going, you gotta go.
The game keeps going, right? Exactly. And so kudos to you for handling it like a champ and continuing to push through. And speaking of singing, we need to get you to do some singing on here. This is the main reason. Don't everyone freaks out like this. I love why this is what you do. This is your
on the spot though. I'm not even gonna lie to you right now. Before the interview, I was like, songs with the word love, songs with the word. I was like,
word love is not coming up. I apologize. We could throw it in if we need. You ready? First word is stay.
What's that Sam Smith? Oh, won't you stay with me?
Yes.
All I need. Yeah.
Did you what is with that head voice? You never used that. Did you hear that? Of course you heard it. I've never heard your head voice before.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't. I'm more comfortable singing deep. That's what I normally do. Also, I live in an apartment and like a house with other people the past couple years, so I don't like sing super high. But yeah.
Going a little country here. The word is truck.
Truck. I felt. Oh my gosh.
It's got to be in 100 country songs, isn't it?
You gonna? I keep thinking of this reference my dad says all the time. You gonna get up on something? Get up on this truck. I know that's not a song, but that's just what popped in my head.
It's worth it. That's fine. That's all we need. Oh my god. What? Okay, and what is that expression supposed to mean and supposed to...
I think it's a parody of some video, but he used to say it to me growing up all the time, and I think about it. It's one of those things that play rent-free in my mind all the time.
That is incredible. If you're gonna get up on anything, get up on this truck.
Okay.
Dad saves us on word number 2. It doesn't even need to be a song. Word number 3 is reflection.
Reflection. I see my reflection. I just made that one up. It's a
just
song.
read it. I was gonna say it. Yeah. Speaking of writing, I have spent so much time. So I don't know how many times you go back and listen to First Time, but I have listened to it nonstop on Spotify because it is so good.
Wow, really? Thank you.
Where did the inspiration come from to write this song? Like, was that the first song you had ever written before?
Yes, actually. It was one of the first co-writes. I feel like I wrote most of that song, but I think there was 2 or 3 other writers on there. It's kind of weird. A lot of times for me when I write a song, it's not always one thing. It's kind of like, sometimes it's just an emotion, how I feel at that moment. Like the first line I will say, I'm the one who needed. My friend, actually, she told me she wanted me to write a song like that. And I remember her saying something about being the one I wish you needed. So that inspired the beginning of the song, but kind of just like a feeling of someone leaving my life. And everything felt cold, even though like it wasn't cold.
I know you're working on a couple of more singles right now. Mm-hmm. What have we got coming out? What's on the docket?
So, yes, I'm so excited. So, Spin It Like a Record is probably the one I'm going to come out next. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I really do love it. It's more of a summer song, though, so I kind of want it to, be like the seasonal. And then the next one I'm going to come out with, that one's called Save Myself. That's like, I would compare that one to like more Hozier type. It's very deep. The lyrics it makes you want to cry, kind of thing. Spin It Like a Record's fun, and it's more like thinking back to a memory.
And was this pre-move to Nashville? What inspired these songs? Is it just your home life?
Oh.
Your get up on that truck? What is inspiring these? what sort of inspired these new singles?
Yeah, so Spin It Like a Record actually was written earlier last year. So I think it was around August when it was written. I was actually in Tennessee. I was in Franklin randomly. And my friend Brad, he was like, "Hey, come over to this girl's apartment." I still never met the girl's apartment it was at. I say that because she had a record player in there.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was like, "Just write about how you feel right now. What's your life like? What are you feeling?" And I was just like, I want that feeling back when I was 16. Like that's the place I was at. I want that feeling of like there was no responsibility. I didn't have to be anywhere. It was just fun. And it's kind of just bittersweet. It's like I love my life now. I love where it's headed, but I miss the innocence of that. And so I was like, spin it like a record.
Do you consider yourself, because knowing you're from Alabama, knowing you were moving to Nashville for a bit, immediately I'm thinking, oh, she's country through and through. But when you listen to a lot of your covers on TikTok, there's a real singer-songwriter quality in there that doesn't necessarily touch country every time. So do you ever sit back and think like, what is my genre, what is my lane, or do you not? You just pick from different trees and it whatever comes to you?
No, I really have been thinking about it lately because I think it is important to somewhat. I would never tell someone to put themselves in a box because I think that's you can't really fit someone in a box. But I've been thinking about who I am and like the message I want to say, what genre, all those things, and I really never consider myself country ever. I didn't want to be country. And like a lot of people though think that I'm country, so I'm like, I'm not against country music. I would say though, like Hoser meets Tracy Chapman meets Adele. Like
I can see it. It's a weird love child, but I can picture it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, maybe a splash of some Cher. Like it's just those are
Right.
like my influences. I don't know what genre that is, but
Yes, it's your genre. That's what it is.
yeah.
I love that Tracy Chapman. That's so perfect. Like, and Tracy Chapman was so like that's it. Her voice was so musical, if that makes sense. She didn't need a backing. She did not need a track behind her, and she could just sing a cappella, and you heard the music in her
Yeah.
voice. Right? And I do get that from you a lot. That's a perfect reference. The last word, and it needs to be the song I'm thinking of, or we're gonna go back and do it again. So the word is whiskey.
Oh, my nights out in the park. It was the only love I've ever known. Uh, why can't I remember the chorus now though? I was gonna skip to it.
Yeah, you rescue. You're just as smooth as, or is that it? You're just
Oh
as
yeah.
smooth as Tennessee.
Oh, as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. Yeah,
God, Chris Stapleton. Good Lord.
he's so
Oh,
good.
I mean, it's not his song, I know, but he made it now. I saw what bar was it that you were just rocking out with that song recently? Was that in Nashville?
It was actually not. It was in Florence, where I go to school.
It's so good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was definitely a highlight moment for me.
And who's the guy playing with you? Is he a
You know what's funny about that? Gary Nichols, he took place of Chris Stapleton in the Still Drivers.
really?
Yeah, like he's the guy. And so his son, I know since you looked at my Instagram, I'm not sure. I recently posted it though. Me and his son, Trey Nichols, wrote a song together called River. That's
Okay.
kind of how I knew Gary because his son's around my age and we were in the same class.
Right.
So yeah, we played a gig together for at least a couple songs, but that was one of them.
You've got the TikTok, you've got your singles coming out. You're in Nashville. I know it's just for an internship, but that's got to be a permanent move. I'm guessing you seem like you absolutely fit and love it there.
I don't want to go back. But the overall goal, of course, is I want a number one song. I want to write for other people. Like I want them to be successful. eventually help other artists in return, like long term. And like educate people more in ways I wasn't, not being around somewhere like Nashville.
Abby, thank you so much. I appreciate you doing this. Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you.
I appreciate you. Seriously, you've always been so kind. It makes me, the little videos you posted, I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. I really do appreciate it.